Happy New Year! It's Nancy, and this is my channel, Nancy's Nibbles of Life. Welcome if you're new here for the first time. If you are a returning subscriber, again, Happy New Year. So excited to be entering the year of 2023 with you. I think this is my third year on YouTube, so really exciting. Hope to continue to bring you new recipes and new videos into the year of 2023. Well, this is the time of year that we all want to do a reset, right? 2022 was kind of interesting for me, up and down on the scale. I hope I have more success in 23. And I thought I would start the new year by offering up a nice, warm, comforting soup. Chicken noodle soup is delicious, and it's something that you can have that will keep you pretty full and sustain for a few hours. You can freeze it, and this is a great recipe for that. I am just using pretty much pieces that I had in the freezer, scraps of chicken. You can do the same. You probably have most of these ingredients right at home. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video. It's so wonderful to be back on YouTube here in 2023. I wish you a blessed and happy new year. Okay, you can't have chicken noodle soup without some good old vegetables. So let's look at our vegetables. We have mushrooms, bell pepper, onion, garlic, and a little bit of cabbage that I savaged from the refrigerator. It's on its last leg. We also have some frozen mixed vegetables. Okay, for our spices, I'm using garlic powder, turmeric, sea salt. I have some black pepper. I'm also using poultry seasoning and rosemary leaves. Great ingredients for chicken. There's our black pepper. And we're going to use these chicken bouillon cubes. They're going to add a great flavor to our soup as well. And again, sea salt. Now, we're also going to need a little bit of rendered baking fat. I'd say that's about 2 tablespoons of that rendered baking fat we're going to need. We're going to use about a half a cup of flour and your favorite noodles. And I'll talk about my pasta in a bit. Okay, you know the drill. We're going to go ahead and dice our veggies. This is my garlic. I'm using my bell pepper. Now, this is going to be a rustic chicken noodle soup, so you don't have to be perfect in your dicing. You want everybody to have a little bit of those veggies in their bowls of soup, but you don't have to go crazy with perfection. You see here on my Spanish onion, my chop is really big because, again, it's just a rustic, soup. So this is very little ingredients. It's about a half of onion, a half of a bell pepper. That's really all you need, Okay, let's move on to our chicken. Now, I have a chicken breast here, a pretty large chicken breast, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the skin. Now, of course, I could have bought a skinless chicken breast, but, groceries are so high these days. I bought whatever was on sale and figured I could just remove the skin myself, and that's what we have here. So, cutting chicken off when there's a bone can be a little dangerous. So, be careful. You see me, I'm just kind of going at it here. But be careful when you're cutting your chicken pieces off of that raw, slippery breast, It just is, again, something you want to take your time and do. So, again, I'm just kind of slicing the larger pieces or slabs of that chicken breast off, and then we're going to go ahead and dice them into smaller pieces. Now, don't get rid of that carcass on that chicken breast, that rib cage. I'm going to use that. When you are boiling chicken, bones add such great depth and flavor to your broth. So we want to use every bit of that chicken breast. We're not going to serve it with our chicken, but we certainly want to flavor our chicken soup with that carcass. So leave that there. Now, you see there, just leave it intact. Okay, I'm going to also cut up a few chicken wings that I found in the freezer. So I've defrosted those, and I'm going to cut these chicken wings in 3 pieces because, again, bones add such flavor. And, we could remove the chicken tips before we serve, unless you like eating them. Maybe some people like gnawing on that skin from the wing tips. Not a bad idea. But I'm going to discard them, but using the bones again for flavor. All right. Sometimes these tips can be a little stubborn, and so you kind of have to just really hack at it and go for it. But all right, there it is, using again the whole chicken wing, all 3 parts. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and season my chicken with salt and pepper, and I'm going to dredge my chicken in a little flour. Now, you've seen this method before. Maybe your mom fried chicken back in the day. Maybe you've even fried a little chicken and you've added your seasoned chicken to a bag with the flour and you just have kind of shaken it up. That's exactly what we're doing here. And I suggested a half a cup of flour. That's what I'm using in my recipe builder. We may actually use a little less than that, but for the sake of trying to get as close as I can to the correct amount of points per serving, which by the way is 4 for this 8 serving recipe. You want to go ahead and add your flour to the bag. Again, about a half a cup. So just give it a good shake. Dredge that chicken in the flour. And the reason we're going to dredge our chicken in flour, is because we're going to cook it a little bit. Par cook our chicken, because it's going to give us a little bit of a thickening agent to our soup. It's also going to season our pot. All right, so again, I'm using some rendered fat here, about 2 tablespoons of that rendered fat. Once our oil gets up to temperature, we're going to add our chicken. And make sure, of course, that you are being very careful when you do this step, because, you don't want that hot grease popping on you and ruining your beautiful face. I've had it happen. I know. So go ahead and be really careful when you're adding your chicken pieces. But essentially what we're going to do is let this chicken cook for about 5 or 6 minutes on both sides. And then we're going to pull the chicken, and again, this just is going to give us somewhat of a thickening agent for our chicken noodle soup. It's going to flavor our pot, and, with rendered bacon fat, you don't have a problem with adding flavor, but it's nice to have it seasoned a little bit with your salt and pepper in your chicken. Okay, so let's just finish adding our chicken here. And you want to get it, as flat as possible, to touching the bottom of your pot there, so that, it cooks pretty fast and that you get it evenly cooked on the bottom. All right, so you see there, I am just giving it a flip. It's a bit of a golden brown color. Not cooked all the way through, of course, but about 5-6 minutes each side until you can get some color on your chicken. All right, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and pull this chicken now. Get all of those pieces up. And now we have a little bit of texture to our chicken. When we add the water to our pot, of course, again, that flour will just add a little bit of a thickening agent. Now, while our oil is nice and hot, let's add our bell pepper, onion, and garlic. And then give those a stir. You might want to turn down your fire just a little bit here. All right, now the cooked pieces of chicken probably won't do enough thickening for our soup, so I'm going to go ahead and add about a tablespoon of flour here and cook that down in our veggies. You don't want it to clump up too much on you, and of course you don't want the taste of an uncooked flour in your chicken noodle soup. So go ahead and Get that flour cooked down. And you know what? This is essentially a roux. You know, you're creating a roux. This reminds me of making a gumbo. All right, we're adding our water, and depending on the size of the pot that you're cooking, I am adding 6 or 7 cups of water here. I want to fill it to the top so that I get a good amount of soup. Adding my bouillon cube to that water so we can get our stock going. And now I'm going to fully season our stock. So I mentioned to you the spices that I'm using: black pepper, garlic powder. We're going to use some poultry seasoning, rosemary leaves, and I believe I have a little seasoned salt there. And of course, that sea salt. Now, we're going to taste as we go, right? To check our salt levels, because we've used that bouillon cube, which of course has tons of sodium, and we have used the sea salt. But we still want to taste as we go because we've added a lot of water, so you don't know the, salt intake until you give it a taste. But I always say that you're the cook. You season how you see fit. So in terms of quantity of these spices that I'm using, I'm just kind of eyeballing it, but I would say it's close to a teaspoon to a half a teaspoon of most of them. Okay? All right, so now we've added our seasonings. We're going to go ahead and give that a stir. Ensure that those seasonings are permeated throughout that entire stock pot. Look at the color that turmeric brings. It's such a pretty golden yellow color. I just love it. I love using turmeric when I am cooking with chicken. Speaking of chicken, let's go ahead and add it back to our pot. Now remember, we have not cooked this chicken all the way through. So the juices are still there. They're not running clear because it's not cooked all the way through. But it will flavor that stock so well. There's our chicken breast carcass, and the rest of the pieces that I have there, those drumettes and wingettes, and of course our chicken breast. It's so great that skinless, boneless chicken breast is 0 on WW because it helps bring the points way down. So, of course, 1 serving of this soup is 4 points. So that's really great. All right, so we've added our chicken to our stock. And, we're going to turn it down a little bit and just let it boil on us. Let it start cooking. Let that chicken start getting nice and tender and flavoring our broth. All right, let's give it a peek. Looks good. Looks good. I'm probably going to turn it down a little bit. Just keep an eye on it, But there it is. You see those bell peppers and those onions and that garlic. I love the fact that they are chopped kind of rustic. Again, it just creates, the aesthetic that you want for a rustic chicken noodle soup. Okay, let's start with our pasta. So, I am using a pasta that I have really fallen in love with. And I'm probably going to butcher the name of it, but cassarese pasta or cassarese pasta. It is such a great noodle because it has a little bit of a straw, almost like in the middle. So it allows you to get a little bit of, broth with every noodle. And it's such a thick, hearty noodle. I really love it. I'm using 5 ounces of that uncooked pasta. So I'm going to bring my water to a boil and cook my pasta al dente. In the meanwhile, I'm adding my mushrooms and my cabbage, giving those a rough chop to add to our soup. Okay, now remember I said that you want to go ahead and taste as you go along. So I have tasted my stock. I think that it needs a little bit of salt. So I'm going to add some sea salt, and I've added that to the palm of my hand so that I can eyeball just about how much I'm adding there to make sure I don't over salt my dish, because that would be bad. You know, you don't want to be all bloated the next day. And of course, a lot of us have to watch our salt intake. So, just measure it out so that you can pay attention to how much you're using. Okay, so again, we've brought our stock up to a boil. Now, I'm going to go ahead and remove the wing tips and that chicken breast carcass. You can also take your time maybe and cut off more of that chicken from that carcass. It's probably really good. Probably has nice and fatty pieces in that breast. But I'm just for now going to pull up those pieces because I think that it's flavored our broth enough. And I don't want anybody to actually eat those pieces. So again, just using it for flavor purposes. Now, adding my al dente cooked pasta into my stock pot. And we're going to also go ahead and add our veggies. So that cabbage and those mushrooms, add that to our stock pot with chicken. And we're going to add frozen veggies. I have about a half a bag here of frozen veggies, string beans, carrots, and corn. And now it's looking like a real homemade chicken noodle soup. Ugh, it was so good, guys, I'm telling you. It's a new year. We're trying to reset our diets. This is such a great recipe to prepare and have it for lunch all week. Of course, once you're sick of it, you could put it in the freezer and bring it out anytime you want, For 4 points a serving, it is a wonderful recipe. Looking good, We're on the home stretch now. So we definitely want to turn it down a little bit because we don't want to overcook our pasta. And we don't want our chicken to turn stringy, But look at that. It's looking good. And believe me, it's smelling good. And again, that beautiful turmeric color, I think, just really helps us out. Now, I don't know about you, but I love a little cornbread with my chicken noodle soup. So I made some cornbread muffins here. My husband is going to love this, and I'm just serving up our soup in a bowl. We had this for dinner one night, and like I said, it's great for soup over the next couple of days. With the new year and the cooler weather, this is a great recipe, guys. I really hope you try it. 4 points. Give that pasta a try. I think you'll really love it. Just a wonderful, hearty, nutritious chicken noodle soup from the soul. From me to you, Happy New Year. Hope to see you in lots of nutritious new recipes this year. Take care, guys. Well, what did you think about that chicken noodle recipe? I love it. I love the addition of things like turmeric. I love that we added some texture to our chicken early on. 4 points. It's a great, great recipe. Believe it or not, we ate that soup for days, and of course we froze a little so that we could pull it out anytime we wanted. I hope that you give it a try. All right, guys, until the next video. See you then. Take care. And again, Happy New Year. Bye.